Welcome to the Hcast episode number 42. And we've got a bit of an action-packed stream for you today. This is, of course, the podcast, my twice-weekly podcast that I do with some great guests covering all things pop culture, movie news, just loads of different stuff, actually. We talked about the submarine. We've been speaking about Bud Light. We cover an awful lot here on the show. But today, we will be talking about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny because it was released in the UK on Wednesday. So it's been out since Wednesday here in the UK. Now, much to my dismay, unfortunately, the other individual that has seen this, because they are in the sort of European region, as it were, Andre, unfortunately, can't make it. So it was going to be an Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny review, and it still kind of is. I'm the only one that's seen it, but we're going to be doing a bit of a Ask Me Anything, as it were, a bit of fun for everyone involved. Now, that's an Ask Me Anything with everyone on the panel, but it's also an Ask Me Anything with people in the chat. So if you want to get involved in this, the way to do that is super chats. That's the way to do it. We'll be reading them out at the end of each and every single segment. So if you want to get involved in the Ask Me Anything part, that'll be in there as well. But if you just want to contribute, support the show, you like what I'm doing here, and you want to help out, super chats are the way to do it. These streams often get demonetized, and super chats really do go some way to helping out because YouTube is, well, a bit of a penis, really. Even just saying that will probably get us demonetized. So it's unfortunate, really, but it is what it is. You guys love the show. We love doing it. And by we, I do mean my illustrious panel here. We've got Culture Casino. How are you doing, good sir?
Fantastic. I actually get to see this in about 3.5 hours or so. So, and at that point, I'll have my review. I know we'll talk about it plenty next week.
We will. We'll sort of recap on it because, of course, when we rejoin the podcast on Tuesday, the opening weekend numbers will be here. So we obviously will be covering the box office, and that will be part of it. Now, I am also joined by Tom Connors of Midnight's Edge and Midnight's Edge After Dark. How are you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing the best I can. How about you guys?
Good. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. And we got Nick from Echo Base Network, the Chill Stream Extreme.
And we are having a chill stream tonight. Me, Coach Nikki, and Matt Rissman. Yeah, we are.
Let's get straight in with advertising a fucking chill stream.
Yeah, chill stream tonight.
Unbelievable. It wasn't self-promotion time.
But anyways, unlike Culture, I will be seeing this thing when it is free to watch on the internet. I'm not paying money to go see this, but I already know what happens from start to finish. So I pretty much know the whole movie. So I already have some questions in mind I want to ask you that I think will be fun for the chat to know.
Good. Excellent. Well, just again to sort of do some housekeeping stuff, we've got 270 odd people here. Please do hit that thumbs up button on your way in. It's a good way to get YouTube, hopefully, to notify you that this stream is up and running. It doesn't do anything for me. This stream gets unlisted the moment it's done, and then it goes over on the second channel. So the likes aren't for me. I'm not begging for likes for that. It's genuinely to hopefully get YouTube to notify you when this stream is live. Speaking of the second channel, in the description box down below, you can find everyone's channel that is here. So everyone that joins the panel, you can find their channels down below. Please do check them out. You will love their input during this stream, and as such, you will want to check out their channels and subscribe. I have no doubt about it. But also subscribe to the second channel, Misstage Reviews Live Archives, because that is where these podcasts go, as well as all the best bits. They get clipped, put them up as separate videos. And one thing, you guys have done such amazing questions on your super chats, and they've caused us to have really good conversations on the back end of it. A lot of them have now become their own videos. So you may very well, if you ask or throw out a really good question via a super chat, you may very well find yourself highlighted in your very own video on the second channel. So food for thought if you do want to contribute. Another bonus there. But speaking of contributions, we do already have a member milestone to get here, which is Tyler Reeves. Has been a member for 1 year and a member for 24 months. Sorry,
2 years.
Supporter level 2. So thank you so much. Really do appreciate that. And we've got Fergal Kelly here for €2. Says June Part 2 trailer looks epic. Yeah, it's trailer 2 actually. I haven't seen that yet. I do need to. So yeah, I will be checking that trailer out. Un momento. I saw that it had gone out just before the podcast started, and I was like, oh, I could just quickly do a video. But no, I'll just wait. I haven't watched the trailer yet, so I will watch it. But thank you so much. So let's get into this. Obviously, I'm the only one that has seen Indiana Jones and the Dial of Decrepity. We're going to do an Ask Me Anything, ladies and gents. So that's you guys doing super chats. Ask Me Anything, but also the panel themselves. Now, I've obviously done my review. I didn't rate it. I can't wholeheartedly recommend the film. But what do you guys want to know? Well,
the obvious question I'll leave to Nick, because I think he's going to burn a hole in his pocket if he doesn't get to ask it.
I want to ask, were the rumors true? Is there time travel in this movie?
Right. So obviously, guys, if you couldn't tell because it's an Ask Me Anything, there will be spoilers.
Yeah.
Full spoilers. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. There is absolutely... There is time travel in this movie, but on a way that doesn't make any sense. And the more you think about it, the more you prang out on thinking about it. So Tom alluded to it in a previous video when we were discussing about the leaks.
Yeah.
And you said a bootstrap paradox, didn't you? Now, can you explain that to me? And then I'll tell you why it's even worse than that.
Okay, what a bootstrap paradox is the Flash, basically, where something cannot happen unless somebody was back in time and does it in the first place, which then creates a time loop, but it doesn't make sense because if that person didn't initially go back in time in the first place to do so, then how does that work? Like, the easiest way of explaining it is if somebody creates a time machine and they go back in time and they give themselves the instructions on how to build a time machine, it creates a bootstrap paradox because did that person actually invent that time machine, or did they just invent it because they went back in time and gave themselves the tools to build that time machine? So it's kind of almost like killing your grandpa, which is just a paradox, but it's not. It's different because it creates a time loop of sorts. So yeah,
right. So I mean, they're pretty bad anyway. Those kind of things are pretty bad.
Yeah,
this one's even worse.
Oh,
even worse, and it doesn't make any sense at all. And it's similar to what you're saying about this bootstrap paradox, but it's even worse, I think, personally, because the Dial of Destiny is something created by Archimedes, right, during the Roman siege.
Right.
Now, he's making it at the Roman siege. He has parts of it. Now, he obviously finishes it off because he gets the necessary components or the necessary mechanical components to be able to finish it off with the watch of Schmidt, which is Mads Mikkelsen's character, which he takes off of his dead body. And then he sees his completed time machine. But wait. So he's holding it. He's got the watch. And he starts talking to Indiana. And do you know what he says? He says, "You were always meant to be here. At this time, at this place. You were always meant to be here." Okay. So why aren't there like 10 Indiana Jones for all eternity just popping up in this place at this one singular time? Because that implies that Archimedes has seen Indiana before already.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't it? It implies that Archimedes has seen Indiana Jones. at that point in time previously. But that Archimedes is the Archimedes of that time because he hadn't finished the fucking Dial of Destiny. But he says, yeah, you were always meant to, because he rigged his Dial of Destiny to go on this closed loop, this constant loop. But also that means that at any point, basically, that point in time should have infinite number of Indiana Joneses constantly coming back through time. Because of the dialogue, you were always meant to. Implies he's seen him before. What, at that one specific time? Obviously, because he rigged the dial to go there at that specific... Fucking doesn't make sense. The more
Are you trying to say... That's not how the Force works.
That's not how time travel works.
The more you think about it, the more annoying it is.
I'm annoyed, and I'm annoyed because everything that I heard about the time travel was 100% true. It was
honestly,
but I go ahead, Tom. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say I don't think anybody really has to see this movie. I can just act it out right now. It's real simple.
Okay,
you've got Indiana Jones here. He's doing his thing. Then you've got Fleabag. Since I don't have Fleabag, we're going to use Teen Wolf. It's the closest thing I got to it.
For a minute, I thought that was a Rose Tico figure.
No, that's Teen Wolf. And she's like, I stole your shit. Why? So I can go back in time. Okay, let's go. We're back in time. We're changing stuff. Yay. I'm going to go back. Yay, let's go back. I'll change the world for you. Oh. Going back in time. Wake up. Oh, everything's better. Yay. Except my kid's still dead. Yeah, sorry about that. Bye. That's the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No, not really.
That's another good question is what did they do with his son from Kingdom of Crystal Skull?
Oh yeah, he's dead.
Yeah,
he's dead. He's dead, and not fully. I mean, we know why, because he enlists, so he goes to the war and he's dead.
Yeah, he gets killed in the Vietnam War, right?
And Andre implied that he enlisted because it was basically a big FU to Indy.
Yeah, so I find that, I mean, that is the implication, right? That it is basically that. But it doesn't really make too much sense to me, because they're trying to make out that Indiana is crotchety because of those incidences. But then they so he's become this grumpy old, arsehole because he's lost his kid and because he's lost his wife. But then if you're implying that his kid went there as a big FU, then the implication is he was an arsehole to his kid as well. So he was just always being an arsehole recently?
Well, I mean, it's Jake Skywalker again, Nate.
Yeah, just honestly, bizarre, super bizarre.
All right, the question I want to know: exactly how insufferable is Fleabag?
Oh yeah, so right, not likable. So it's difficult to really quantify, really, because she does very strange things that she's written very oddly. Now, she has a character arc where she's supposed to be likable, right? Then she's supposed to be unlikable. Then she's supposed to be likable again. That's her character arc. But she does weird things along the way, and it's not really well thought out. So she begins fucking random young men,
right,
and making suggestive comments, but it's just out of nowhere,
right?
Like she's on a boat with Indiana, her version of Short Round. That's right, they have a Moroccan version of Short Round, and she's like, oh yeah, promising, more promising, to some items, some alcohol, and then she finds dynamite and she goes, very promising. And then she looks around and then she sees a guy topless and she's like, very promising. And you're like, what?
So
what? That's just come out of nowhere. And then when they're in Greece, she just randomly looks at some more men and just is like, You're like, what the fuck? Like, because it's just out of nowhere. Like, it's not in her character up until that point, until it just
she's like a woman
happens.
whore, basically.
Yeah, so it kind of is, but kind of isn't. So previously to that, she's in Morocco, and it's out and out stated that she banged a mob boss's son, and stated she was going to marry him to get her own way. But that's the only thing that's like, she's not much of a man eater until then. But even then, that's not really man eating; it's more manipulation. And then she's just eye fucking all these men. It was really odd. It's very, very strange. Very just. So basically, yeah. The question is she insufferable? Yeah, massively insufferable. Not likable. I would say not likable. There's very little redeeming qualities about her. So when we meet her, she is at the back of Indy's classroom because he's a professor. And she's just getting everyone in that room is not interested. They couldn't give a shit. And she's answering all the questions completely correctly. Just, oh yeah. And she's getting all these weird little smiles, very like, I don't know, uppity, up herself, kind of smirks at her answers. And you're like, yeah, right. And so that's instantly, grating as an individual, because you look at this person, she's like, oh, she's the best instantly. And yeah, so she's a bit of a Mary Sue as well. Can just do everything. Expert car chase driver, expert at this, can do this, can ride motorbikes, can read polyllabus or whatever like this, mathematical equation language, code, knows all this stuff and has known all this stuff for years and has graduated and is doing a master's in archaeology, blah, 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 blah. Just epic. So yeah, there you go.
So her credentials are through the roof and way better than Indy's.
Yeah, to a degree. She's like if Indiana was actually what she called him, a grave robber, because she calls him a grave robber, and I mean he's never robbed graves, and if he has, it's only to go put them in a museum anyway. So fuck the graves, who cares? It does belong in a museum rather than other grave robbers getting it and destroying it. So yeah, or cultures of that nation destroying it in bizarre, citizen uprisings and whatever. So yeah, it does belong in a museum. And yeah, Indiana Jones is right. So I don't care if he is a grave robber. Fuck him. But she is, she sells stuff on the black market. She organizes, mob crime bosses to come round and, do auctions for, black market archaeological items. She's just out for a buck. But she called Indiana a grave robber.
Interesting.
So did the sexual revolution show up early in this film?
Apparently so, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the moon landing, isn't it? So
yeah. So it's quite interesting that this is the way things are being laid out. Was there redeeming parts of this in your experience?
Yeah, so the first act, you will hear from everyone, I think. I've got no doubt about this. Literally anyone who watches the movie will go, the first act's brilliant. First act is great. It's set at the end of the World War II. The Nazis are, at some like chateau, castle. They found a whole bunch of authentic archaeological, sort of artifacts. They're looking for, Christ's dagger, basically, right? Mm-hmm. The killing blow, and Indy's there trying to save the day. He's trying to find it, but obviously he realizes that Christ the dagger is a fake or whatever it is. And then they sort of stumble across the Dial of Destiny by accident. But there's a great train sequence. It was just great, and it's really good. Whether it's CGI de-aging or it's deep fake, who cares? Whatever. That was pretty damn good. The voice, because they they've got a body double to play him, so it's not him doing it. So it's not like The Irishman where you got these people sort of ambling around that are clearly fucking ancient, right? You know, it's not that. Like they actually have, you know, a young actor doing the jumping around and the body stuff, but it's the voice. Every now and then the voice would come through and you'd go, oh, yep, that's a bit old. But the body work was great. The de-aging stuff, deep fakery was great. It was really good. Like it's probably some of the best deep fake de-aging stuff we've seen yet. I'm trying to think what's comparable to it. Like I think I said in my review, Luke Skywalker and The Mandalorian, because I think they did a pretty good job with that as well. There's always a little bit glaring here and there, but this is some of the best. It is some of the best, I think, yet. And the train sequence was really, really good fun. Like that felt like Indiana Jones. The music worked. The thing is, when you're in that setting and you're seeing all the Nazis and it's young Harrison Ford and he's doing his thing, the music coming through feels authentic and it feels earned, right? That I think that's the key. It feels like the music and the score is earned at that point. But then flash forward and you hear the music coming through, you're like, this does not feel right. It feels disjointed. It feels jarring. Not good. So that's a redeeming part of it is the opening act. Absolutely.
But after that, it sounds like it gets
it gets bad real fucking quick.
Yeah.
Because the next scene from there is literally old Indiana in a pair of underwear banging on his neighbor's door with a baseball bat, telling him to turn the music down at 8 a.m. in the morning. You go from that great opening to that, and you think that's a good way to introduce the old Indiana. I mean, I get it, because you are supposed to be introducing an older Indiana that you know doesn't like things, but that's not the Indiana we want to see anyway.
He's now turned into the old "get off my lawn, you damn
massively."
kids.
Oh no, massively. It's such a weird narrative juxtaposition to go from one to the other and think that people are going to receive that good. You know, so that's going to be well received, because it's like, whoa, what the fuck?
Well, it sounds like it was they made a lot of instead of making good narrative choices, they looked for the worst one they could make, and then then that's the one they went with. I mean, I'm not sure you're prepared for that kind of whiplash in a film from Act 1 to Act 2. So, yeah, you're really not encouraging me to want to see this film in 3 hours plus. Thanks, appreciate it. My God.
Yeah. I honestly. Hey, buddy. My dog just walked in.
And you said you didn't put a rating on it yet.
No, I don't do ratings. I don't like to do ratings.
Okay.
It's very rare that I do ratings. The thing is, if I had to give ratings, I'd give the opening act like a great rating, like a 7 or an 8 out of 10. It's a really good opening act. It's a good opening act anyway, but then it also feels like Indiana. So yeah, like a solid 8 out of 10 for sure. Like absolutely for sure. But then there's other parts of the movie like, oh my God, like I legitimately fell asleep briefly in a chase scene. I fell asleep briefly in a chase scene. At a movie that's been shown at 3:30 in the afternoon. Like I'm not super old where I need to have a nap. I fell asleep because I was bored. It was boring. The chase scene on the tuk-tuks through Marrakesh or Morocco, wherever it is, was boring. God. So,
that's not good. That's not good, because I didn't have a whole lot of sleep last night. So you're not helping me out here, Nate. You're really
it's very drawn out, very overlong. You go from scene to scene, and it's very drawn out and overlong. Very meandering. That's a good word for it, I would say.
How do you have a boring chase scene?
Oh, because it just drags. Like it goes on for too long, and they're in tuk-tuks, so it's not that exciting.
And it already kind of was reminiscent of things we'd already seen in Indiana Jones before, so it didn't seem like it was anything new.
Oh, massively.
A lot like the Crystal Skull bike scene.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, not good. Not good by any stretch.
I'm sorry you had to take one for the team.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know what else to ask you. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of girl boss in it. Obviously, you have things that are clearly quite out of place. Um, he doesn't redeem his character at all at any point.
Well, no, it doesn't. No,
Wow.
no, because his characters are redeemed for him. So at the end of the film, he wants to stay there. He wants to stay in the past, and he's bitching and he's moaning. He's like, no, just let me die. Let me die here. Let me stay here. Blah 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 blah, and that goes on for too long as well. Like it's supposed to be this big emotional scene, but you're just thinking this is very out of character for you, Indy. And so because it goes on and on and on, even more, you're questioning it even more and more and more. You're like, what the fuck? So she punches him in the face, and then he wakes up in his bed. And I think it's been misunderstood with people that have seen it advance. So nothing is changed.
Right.
No one travels through time to change anything, right?
Right.
The only thing that's changed is obviously when Phoebe Waller-Bridge and Indiana Jones came back, right? Helena Shaw, they came back from the past, from Archimedes. Helena Shaw went immediately to Marion and said, "Oh, this has happened. He's dying, basically. He's really, really sick." And so that is why Marion turns up. Nothing in the past was changed that made that happen. Helena is now Cupid as well.
But she sounds like she can do anything that she wants, and
Yeah.
no consequences. Were the stuntmen accommodating?
Well, so just to further clarify on that,
Oh,
because it's really
okay.
important to note, I think, and I'll answer that question as well.
Yeah.
It is literally confirmed in dialogue that what I've said is true. Nothing in the past was changed. Literally nothing. So it's actually confirmed in dialogue, because Marion says to Indy, "Oh, I was told you're back," i.e., you're back being an adventurer. Why are you here? Well, blah blah blah. I've heard you're back. Are you back? And he's like, well, So it's not that, and she's still, she doesn't live there, because she's like, oh, this place is, you've got no food here. You have no food here. You have no food here. Nothing's changed. They're not back together. She's just been called round the house. That's literally it. So anyone who ever has said that that's the end of the movie and that it's time travel and it's been changed, that's not true. They didn't listen to the dialogue properly.
Good Lord. So we're worse off than when the film started.
Yeah, way worse off. So you sort of end in the same position as the Crystal Skull end, but also sort of not.
Wow. How many reshoots do you think were involved in this? Could you spot them? Because the people that have seen it that I know,
I'm not even sure if this was the only alternate ending.
Yeah,
because I had heard about a Back to the Future ending where Marion is just there with him, and they never did get a divorce or weren't getting a divorce, and there's an implication that Mutt never went to Vietnam or some shit like that too.
Yeah, so those kind of endings could have just been shot in a day.
Yeah,
so I think how you go from the past to the future, you can't clearly see that there's reshoots from there, right? You just can't, because you go from the past to the future. That scene transition is jarring anyway, because he gets punched. So the next scene could be anything, regardless of what we see. So if anyone says, well, I could clearly see a reshoot from this point to this point, not really, because that transition is quite jarring as it is, regardless. Like, you are literally going from the past to the future after after Indy's been punched. So yeah, I don't think there is there probably is, there probably has been multiple endings shot, but from this, can you tell what was cut out?
Right.
No. But there is a really, it is quite a jarring death for the villain. Like he does die pretty quickly and he's just dead. You're like, oh right, cool, fine.
Is there any attempt to explain how we wouldn't be radically different in this time loop that's established if a plane crashes with a lot of future tech and engineering in the time of Archimedes?
Say that again, sorry.
Okay, so in that time loop with Archimedes, there's a plane crash, which is how the villain dies.
Yeah.
Sorry, major spoilers, guys. But is there anything to suggest why we don't have more advanced technology when Indy returns from that time loop? Because there would have been a lot of engineering and other things that would have been recovered.
No. So there's not actually, and that's kind of a plot hole to a degree, because you could say because it's in such disrepair, big crash, and then there's still the war going on, the siege of Syracuse, I guess. That's one way to explain it, but it doesn't really make too much sense because on Archimedes' tomb,
right,
they show a phoenix. Oh, well, I guess maybe they explain it. So they think that they're dragons from the sky. Oh, they have dragons. The Romans think, Archimedes has dragons. Archimedes thinks the Romans have dragons. So maybe, but basically on Archimedes' tomb, it is a phoenix with propellers for wings.
Well, but
so they obviously kind of understood what it was, but kind of didn't.
Right. I mean, you would think Archimedes kind of a smart dude, so maybe would have reverse engineered the dragon. That's why I always have a problem with these things when you do that, because you would have massive jump in engineering and technology. Because that's one of the things that the clever apes do. We reverse engineer.
Well, he did though. So he did. Well, I guess really selective. So I think I would say it's basically implied that the only way he managed to complete the Dial of Destiny is because he had the watch of the Nazi Schmidt. But he didn't keep the Dial of Destiny in the past. They took it with them. But he had his own Dial of Destiny that was semi-completed.
Wow.
But he also understood and knew what it was, and that he'd seen Harrison Ford before already.
But
even though he couldn't have, because it's that close time loop anyway, and he does die, and he dies with the watch. It's just, it's annoying. When you think about it more and more, it gets more and more annoying.
Okay. I'm going to set aside the infinite loop thing and suggest that perhaps, there's something that explains that. He still changes everything in the future, and Archimedes helps enable him because he fixes the time to come to that place. The Dial of Destiny only goes one place. It's to
it's a closed loop, so it only goes to one place.
Yeah, good lord.
But that's why it'd be an infinite time loop, i.e., there should be infinite Indianas turning up.
Well,
at one point,
not with. Yeah, but it's the writer's limited understanding of time travel that keeps that from being a problem, I guess. I don't know. This is bad.
Yeah, I know. Well, the thing is, you wouldn't have that problem if they didn't establish that Archimedes had already seen Harrison Ford and knew he was going to turn up, right?
Yeah.
Because then you're changing the time mechanic in that universe by having him say that. By having him say that implies he's already seen Indiana before, but he can't have done that unless infinite Indianas always turn up at the same point in time all the time.
Okay.
Because otherwise he has to die, but he'd also know, and then do you see? He'd also know previous to that event that he's going to see Indiana, but he can't know that.
This is why
it doesn't make any sense.
This is why I hate time travel for people who aren't thinking of all of the things that go into it.
Well, they just didn't have to say it. They could have just gone, "Oh, you've got my time machine."
Right.
Just that. You didn't have to say that. Or you're always going to. Just that one line ruins it. Well, it does more than ruin it. Like, the film's ruined anyway, but that adds a new dumb depth to the time travel
I don't have any more questions to ask. Every single thing that I was told about this film seemingly is true.
Yeah.
And I have to go see it still.
I got another question.
Oh, okay, Nick. Good luck.
Was watching this Indiana Jones film, did it feel like you were watching Indiana Jones, or did it feel like you were watching something else?
So only the start. The rest of it did actually just feel like you were watching old Harrison Ford, because he kind of plays himself. Because he is a bit of a grumpy old man in interviews. Massive.
Yeah.
So
was there any cool adventure stuff that was like, okay, this feels like Indiana Jones?
No, because they go to Archimedes' tomb,
Mm-hmm.
but Indiana Jones is complete. He's like he's hanging off of an old. He's climbing a cliff face sort of thing, a cave,
mm-hmm.
and he's just standing. He's just in one stationary moment. He's not moving. And Helena's like, "What are you doing? Are you okay?" And he's like, "No, I'm wondering why I'm here with my old aching joints and my old this and my old that." And I'm like, oh, "God, shut the fuck up!" Like, God damn. So no, not really.
Wow, man. I'm glad I'm not paying money to go see this.
Yeah, it wasn't great. Great.
Lord, we have a ton of super chats. People are wanting.
I know. So let's get to them. So this is an Ask Me Anything, so it's also an Ask Me Anything from you guys as well. Super chat is the way to do that. Help support the show. We get demonetized very often here, so you want to support, you like watching this, super chats go a long way. So actually, Nikki's been a member for 26 months at support level 0.5. So thank you so much. Fergal Kelly has been a member for 25 months at support level 1. Says, Jesus, time flies, eh? Eric Henson has been a member for 15 months, support level 2, and says, who is this movie actually for? I never watched any Indiana Jones.
Yeah, that's a good question.
The marketing certainly doesn't make me want to see this one, let alone the original movies. Yeah, I don't know who this is for. I mean,
that's a problem. You have a big gap here, unfortunately, where it's been 15 years since we've had the last movie. And I don't think the last movie generated a new fan base. And I think this is kind of, I was saying this yesterday, but I think this is kind of credit towards the prequels and shows how Star Wars prequels at least lived on a little longer and kept the Star Wars franchise going. Crystal Skull did not. It was something where I think a lot of the next generation did not get it passed down to them. And not only that, I think there's a point to be made with that, is that what is there here for the next generation to get into? Nothing. I mean, Indiana Jones is so old and removed now from, the zeitgeist that, I mean, he's been parodized, or I don't think that's a word, but satirized, I guess would be a better word, and tons of other things. I mean, he himself was basically a throwback to, serial heroes of the day. So like, I think I said this the other day. I said, I don't think he's quite at the level of like Lone Ranger yet, but he's really low on the totem pole as far as like in the pantheon of IPs or franchises or characters right now. I don't think it's there for him, especially when Barbie's looking at making 70-80 million its opening weekend right now.
I don't know. At the end of the day, there are people that like this movie. More power to you. So, there's the odd person in the chat say you're being negative, you're being this, blah 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 blah. Look, at the end of the day, you can enjoy the movie. No one's saying you can't enjoy it, but or equally so, don't demean people that could justify why they dislike something. It really just shows that you're a moron on epic scales.
Yeah.
Again, I like the fact that you've liked the movie. I like the fact that anyone likes it. Good for you. I'm glad you didn't waste your time, because I fucking went there and I wasted my time and my money. Right? Absolutely wasted my time, because it's 3 hours, because it's 2.5 hours long. It's long and you feel it. But it's half hour of trailers, and I got to drive there. It's an hour each way. That's a 5-hour day for me just go watch this hunk of shit. So you like the movie, and there are people that did. Good for you, honestly. Good for you.
And again, my takeaway right now is based on conversations and the information that I had going into this thing. I still haven't seen the film. I'm just going to keep as open a mind as possible going in there because I've paid money to see it, unlike a lot of the access media who doesn't pay for that. I didn't get access to a screener or a special preview, so I'm having to go in there on my own dime, which is I really don't mind doing. I think it keeps me more honest because I haven't been handed it. So, I really have to go into this and put on my cinema goer hat and either enjoy or not enjoy the film. But I can only draw from people that I trust, the people that I agree with regularly as far as the quality of films. That my enjoyment could be compromised here, and I will establish for myself whether or not that's true. But one of the reasons I review films, and I think everybody here does it for the same reason, is I'm kind of like quality control or a consumer advocate, because I'm going to see a film, so maybe you don't have to. Because if it's that shit and it's not worth the 5 hours that he's talking about, the more people that tell you that, maybe the more opportunity you have to save money. But
yeah, absolutely.
From your
especially in this economy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
From your description, though, Nate, you are indicating to me that this is as close to Indiana Jones as any of the Disney Star Wars films were to Star Wars. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Fair enough.
And like I said, I've read the movie from start to finish online, and I'm not paying to see this garbage. And you basically just reiterated my thoughts on not spending the money on it, as well as several other. There's some other reviewers that really aren't in our circle of YouTube, where we, for the most part, have a lot of the same opinions and agree on a lot of the same stuff when it comes to movies. And even they were saying this is not a good movie, So it's just been one confirmation after another for me on not going and not wasting my time or money.
Well, let's so we've got some more super chats. So we've got one from Al Humphreys says, "So, Mr. H and the panel, what are your thoughts on the send-off for what was the Indiana Jones trilogy?" Well, hopefully, I've sort of given you my my well-rounded opinion on that as well already. Yeah, Indiana Jones trilogy, I think, is the right way to put it. Personally, this is of its time, deserved to stay of its time in that time, and enjoyed retrospectively. I think personally, I think there are movies that should simply be enjoyed retrospectively. That's what I think. Yeah. I guess you can't really chip in, to be fair. We also had a J member for 28 months, support level 1. Thank you so much. Fierce Sundown has been a member for 24 months at support level 0.5. So that's another way to support the show if you like what you're watching here. Super chats are a great way to do it, but so are memberships as well as Patreon, which you can find linked down below in the description box. Jun Wong for $5 Australian. Sorry if I butchered that. Says, ask anything. Okay. Like Indy, I've gotten older, and supposedly, like old Indy, I need to wake up several times a night to pee. Any advice?
Don't drink anything 4 hours. Don't drink anything 4 hours before you go to bed.
Or put a bucket by the bed.
Yeah, I think there's anti-inflammatories for the older prostate.
What do you think bedpans were for?
Something wrong with you guys. Honestly, it's just a make sure you eliminate before.
I'm not walking out back to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
Redman 790 for $10 says, "What up, all? Did you check out the Dune Part 2 new trailer? Thoughts? Has anyone else seen it?
Yes.
I haven't seen it yet. What did you think?
I'm not.
Looks kind of epic.
Okay, now Tom, did you use my method for watching trailers? Okay, so my method for watching trailers is I watch it twice. The first time I watch it with the sound off, completely muted.
What? Why
Yeah.
would you do that? No.
Yeah.
Fuck
And
your
See, I
method
would do it the
instantly.
opposite.
And
But
then the
anyway.
That's what I would do.
Okay, well, I do it with no sound to begin with, so that I see what it's supposed to be visually as what the trailer is trying to tell me. And then it gives me the opportunity to ignore the slow rock jam that they drop in later for nostalgia purposes, or whatever else kind of thing that they try to do to bring your emotions into it that isn't available visually.
Oh, there was plenty of.
Oh, yeah. Well, I bet. Gosh, the atmospheric stuff in the soundtrack is just trash-tastic. But so no, my opinion is it's visually magnificent. And then you turn the audio on and you're like, oh, well, maybe it'll be good.
I'll have the first one. I'll have to watch it.
Yeah, I hope it's good. I like Harkonnen and let me tell you, visually, there's many scenes that look very much like Gladiator. I'm like, oh, way to rip Gladiator off there. That was fantastic. Yeah, anyway.
Right. We got a very good, interesting question right now. I think Fergal Kelly for €2 says, should the new Superman wear red trunks? What do we think?
Of course.
I don't know. I'm not like a clear-cut yes or no on it. I want to hear the pros and cons. What's the debate? Why?
First of all, it breaks it up. It makes it look too much like he's wearing a onesie.
Yeah, true.
Even with the belt, it still needs that to break it up. And two, it's based on the old strongman wrestler kind of uniform from back in the day. So I think that to take it away kind of does a disservice to it. I mean, Batman, you can get away with it a little easier, especially if you're doing all black on Batman, which works. Superman, it just kind of doesn't without the trunks to me. It's part of it breaks it up. Otherwise, it just looks like, especially like, look at Supergirl in The Flash. I thought she looked kind of horrible. And if she had some kind of trunks or skirt or something to kind of break up, and then plus the boots, you got to have the boots too. You can't just do this whole one piece suit thing. I hate it.
Yeah.
Looks like a scuba suit.
Which is one of the reasons why I hated the Flash's costume, to be fair. But that's a whole other conversation.
Which, they've done the same thing to the Flash's costume over the years. It used to be more broken up between, different. Even though he never had trunks,
It was a belt.
He had the belt and he had the boots and the gloves.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but
I'm now pro trunks.
Okay, very good.
I'm pro trunks as well.
Plus, the ladies get to see his junk better.
That's right. Yeah, there's a cupping effect.
Moving on. Horseradish Power for £2 says, so Victor Meldrew and the Dial of Destiny then. Yeah. Victor. If anyone doesn't know who Victor Meldrew is, it's a notoriously grumpy old man in a comedy series in the UK. Moses Lack for $25 says, to what extent, if any, can we blame James Mangold for this finished product Indy 5? I recall watching The Wolverine and loving the first 2/3 of the movie. Later heard that the final 1/3 was due to studio interference. Well, I'll chime in real quick and say, look, I think there's a lot of Mangold in here for sure. I think there is, because he likes a dour movie. He likes a dour tone. He likes to set his characters up for those kind of things, right? He's an excellent writer and he's made excellent films. Don't get me wrong. But when, and I think he's a great director normally. One of my favorite films of the last couple of years, Ford versus Ferrari or Le Mans. Brilliant film, absolutely staggeringly amazing. To make that film as entertaining as it was about that story, great, really, really good. The direction was good, the acting was great, but he does like a dour film, and sometimes it is the polar opposite of what those characters should be experiencing or what we want that to have as a franchise. So I think a large portion can absolutely be attributed to James Mangold. And then I think another large portion would be Kathleen Kennedy. There are definitely Kathleen Kennedy touches over this that you can see. Absolutely. So that's my answer. Anyone else's?
I think if his name's on it, you can blame it.
Partially, but at the end of the day, I look at him as more of a director for hire because a lot of this was set in stone before he even came on board. And I think he did work on more recent story. I can't remember if he's actually credited or not, but At the end of the day, it still was to facilitate with what Miss Kennedy wanted. And he got himself a Star Wars movie out of it. So I think we got our answer.
Yeah. Yeah. Nick? Nick's dead, everyone.
Nick has died.
Nick died.
Anyway.
Of just
Magitech
pure
Mags, $2.
Indiana Jonesness.
Says Indiana Jones and the infinite loop of migraines. Ugh. Pretty much. Pretty much. Horseradish Power for £2 says, stuff Indy. I'll watch Ruby Gilman instead. Thanks.
I've been hearing some confirmations on those leaks I heard early on that the movie was a little woke. It's more than a little woke. I've been hearing now.
Oh dear.
Gilman, I've heard that it kind of like mocks the wokiness, but okay.
I've heard the absolute opposite.
All right. Well, you know who's gonna go see it right now is our good buddy Jonas. Jonas J. Campbell's headed to see that.
Yeah, maybe that's the individual I was talking about.
Well,
yeah, Ruby Gilman is woke. That's an exact quote. You can put that on the poster.
Like, oh no, what happened? No, it's like also Barbie's going to be woke AF, by the way, too. Holy cow!
I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Warachi, I think, for $2 says, "How angry did this movie leave you?" Didn't leave me angry. Just left me like, If a feeling was a word, that was it. It's just what it was. I was just like, whatever. I had some popcorn, so that perked me up a little bit, and then I walked out to my nice car and I drove home with some good music. So that was the highlight for me: the popcorn and the drive home.
What music did you listen to?
I listen to very, very chilled music. I'm not a massive rocker these days. I used to be a rocker. I used to have long hair. I was a metalhead. That's probably why all the tattoos and shit.
Yeah.
What?
Well, I got to ask you, how was the soundtrack?
What, to this?
Yeah.
Oh, I kind of implied that, didn't I? I said the past stuff, it felt good. It felt like you were supposed to, it felt earned because it felt like indie, but then no, it wasn't good. And it felt jarring and weird in the present day stuff. Just felt odd, out of place, not good.
Really? Okay, so even John Williams couldn't save this, is I guess.
No, because you're expecting that theme tune to come through and see an Indiana Jones that not the Indiana Jones that we're seeing in this movie. That's the best way to describe it. It's jarring. They are two things completely out of place to me.
Wow. So very much, there's a lot of incongruity here. That's very interesting.
Yeah. Massively.
Yeah, it sounds like they basically are caricaturizing Indy throughout. Then okay, very good. Okay.
Yeah. Magitech Mag says, not sure if I asked how many people in the theatre. There were 3 other people in my theatre. And I'm aware this is this seems.
Let me check.
This seems pretty normal across the board for people that watched it on Wednesday, because Andre posted a picture to his Twitter where there was like all of probably about the same number, a handful of people.
He said, I think, it was like 6 altogether, something like that, maybe.
So basically,
and there were some people going, "Oh, well, that's like early in the day." It's like, no, dude, it's nighttime over there.
Well, I mean, I went at 3:30 in the afternoon, but the theater car park was packed, so they were going to watch another film.
Other stuff,
yeah. So it was early, but it was packed out.
No, we've had more than enough proof now to where if it's something that people want to see, I don't care what the excuse is, because I've been dealing with the Batman excuses and stuff like that and Snyder fans the last 2 weeks, and it's like, no, they're all excuses. Because if it really was all these things you said it was, we'd be it'd be happening, because we have Spider-Verse, we've had Avatar, we've had Top Gun, we've had more than enough movies in the past year and a half that none of these excuses can fly anymore, other than the movie's a piece of crap and or something nobody asked for in the first place, hence nobody has any interest in it. And I can't believe that there is I'm saying it myself, I can't believe there's no real buzz or interest going into this Indiana Jones movie. I thought at least
I see none.
At the very least, and wow, Nick's alive, and the CPR worked. And Nick, I don't know if you agree with me or not, but I thought like going into this, like, oh yeah, we'll definitely, it's not going to get the internet buzz going, but there's a whole nother audience, the general public that's into this.
I don't think anyone cares about it.
They're not. They don't care.
Yeah. No, I don't see anybody talking about it on my social media, for my personal accounts or anything.
I forgot it even came out.
Yeah.
Until Andre reminded me. I'm like, oh shit, I scheduled a surgery I didn't have on that day. I might go see it tonight, but I have no real ambition. I'm supposed to be getting my car back this afternoon, so there's some good news. But
yay.
So hold on one second. So we've got Tommy reviews. So we need to get through some of these super chats before we move on to our other topics. We've got 820 people here. Please do hit that thumbs up button, guys. You want to join in? You want us to read out your comment, question, whatever, super chat is the way to do it. So Tommy reviews for $5 says, how does it compare to Indy 4? Which I liked in my opinion. I'm glad the Reddit leaks are true and I'll save my money for this film for Oppenheimer. Well, I mean, the thing is, it's not for me to tell you where to spend your money, of course, right? If it was this or Oppenheimer, your statement's it's a bit difficult for me to answer, really, because you said that you liked Indy 4. So, if it was this or Oppenheimer and you liked Indy 4, I would almost, and this, I'm being unbiased, I would almost lean towards you maybe actually liking this movie. But yeah, I mean, look, how did it compare to Indy 4? I don't know. To me,
okay,
about the same, maybe a bit worse. I didn't think that was good anyway. So right, I think it was good at all.
Just for some context, because I'm a big fan of that. The theater I'm going to be seeing the film in has 500 seats. There's 500 seats in the theater I'm going to.
It's opening night for you, isn't it?
It's 3. No, it'll be 3:30 or so in the afternoon.
It's opening day.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So there's 500 seats in this auditorium. There are 37 people in this auditorium.
Hey, it's better than what I had.
Now,
wow.
The market might be domestic then,
No. And let me tell you why. Because when I go to that same theater later in the day, we have this phenomena we've been referring to for a while now as ghost seats. And there are multiple seats that are occupied in the exact same pattern in this theater. In this theater, they're purchased in the same exact pattern the entire day, just like it was for The Flash, just like it was for everything else. Now there are different seats. There are more of them. There appear to be about 12 seats in each of these showings that are ghost seats, and they have the same visual pattern when you look at them for the pre-purchase. Now that again can be part of the marketing budget, the tickets they're giving away, for radio contests. Yeah, well, no, the Applebee's things, I think you have to go through a process. Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, but
I have no idea, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah, but then you have
I'm looking at my Madison showings right now. That's the Capitol.
Yeah,
the IMAX showings have about a third sold out. The standard showing as well. It's a little bit better than Flash, but not much better than Flash.
Right.
Well, look, it's better than I thought it was going to be.
So I'm looking at Atlanta, Georgia, which is not too far from where I'm at. So it's a major metropolitan city. For this Saturday night at 7:15, which is the prime time people go on dates and go see the movies and that sort of thing. 7 people in the theater.
Good gravy, Granny. Okay, but again, I mean, the what like I said, these ghost seats are a real thing, and I mean, and people started to pay attention when we got to Captain Marvel, but it's the same thing. These are the tickets they're giving away at the radio station, and all of that. So you're going to get these in the comp seats. So, but they're all in the same pattern, so it's very strange. And again, I mean, I can pull up the Flash ones again just for comparison.
No, because we need to get through a lot of this.
Sorry.
Remember, I finished this before 9. Come on now.
That's right.
So, Culture Casino. So, Magic Max for $2 says Culture Casino and the 2 ways of viewing trailers. Yeah.
Sounds good. I like that movie. I like that film.
I wonder what the trailer would be like. Would it have music?
No,
I checked into this like it looks like a draft house kind of thing where it's showing in a scope presentation.
Alamo.
And that has sold quite almost a couple more seats than the other ones.
I think it's going to have a domestic market. I
I don't
think it's going to be big, but that is its market.
Well, okay, they predicted 60. If it opens at 70, guess what? That gives them a bump. It makes it look like it did well when it really didn't.
But even that 60 range, they're giving it a fair 60 to 80 because they don't really know where it's going to come in.
Yeah.
You know, and it's 60 is on the low end, right, Tom?
Well, that's 60 is the magic number I've been hearing for the last 2 weeks.
Right.
But we'll have to see here because
we'll be covering this on Tuesday, that's for sure.
Yeah.
We got another.
I'm still deciding if I'm going
from Wise and Sage for $4.99. Says, do they bring Indy's son, his legacy, back to life at the end of the movie? No, he's still dead because they don't change anything. That's what people are getting wrong when they've been reviewing it. If they've been saying that they go back and change stuff in the past, they don't change anything. They have not changed anything. Marion and Indy are still not together. She comes around at the end because Phoebe Waller-Bridge invites her over. She comes into an apartment that is still Indiana's apartment, his own. Nothing's changed. They do literally grocery shopping for Indiana, and the words are, there was nothing in here. So no, they've not changed anything. Anyone who says that they go back and change stuff in the past didn't pay attention to the film. Mecha J for $2 says, bring back the red trunks.
I agree.
Yeah.
Black Saber says, Mr. H off topic, favorite Gundam. I just like building them. I don't actually have a favorite one. Just because I've got some, you're probably referring to the ones that you can see. But there, I just like building them. I just think they're fun to build. So I actually don't know what they are. I know nothing about Gundam. I just like building them. I just think it's really therapeutic.
You love
Gundam.
You love Gunpla, but you don't love Gundam.
I just like, honestly, building them so much fun. It's really therapeutic. I just switch off. You focus on putting these tiny
model
little
building
things together. It's just fun. It's just fun. Horseradish Power for £5 says, I watch Velma and Gotham Knights. I can survive watching a woke Ruby Gilman film. I will just honey badger watch the film. Then I can take the pain.
Fair enough.
Goodness me. Goodness me. Dear oh dear. Right. So, ladies and gents, from one James Mangold project to another. So again, if you want us to cover your super chats, guys, or you want us to cover your comments, super chats are the way to do it. But like I said, let's move from one James Mangold film to another. He starts talking about his Dawn of the Jedi. Expect a lot of this to come out, ladies and gents. Expect a lot of this now, because this is he's hot property because of Indiana. He's not, obviously, but this will be what happens. This will be what happens. There'll be lots and lots. There'll be a big push for this now. So let's take a look. At this year's Star Wars Celebration, we learned that James Mangold was going to be doing period piece drama of Star Wars, The Dawn of the Jedi, which actually has now been called that by Kathleen Kennedy, even though Lucasfilm themselves have debunked that as a title, which is super, super dumb, but whatever.
Yeah.
Taking place thousands of years prior to the events of the Phantom Menace, Freudian slip there. We'll meet the first person who wielded the Force and learn the origins of the Jedi.
Jennifer Lawrence?
She does it all, mate.
Brie Larson.
So there was an interview, Happy, Sad, Confused, and Mangold elaborated on his approach to exploring the pivotal moment in the franchise's history, which actually, means fuck all. Doesn't matter because it's going to be whatever Kathleen Kennedy wants it to be anyway. So who cares? When I talked to some of the Star Wars clerics, this is like a nerd's wet dream, isn't it? Working for Star Wars. I'm a Star Wars cleric. Piss off. They keep track of all these timelines. I was like, so when would this happen? And they were like, 25,000 years before episode 1. And I was like, oh, I was looking for some distance, but that's distance. Well done. The reality for me is that feeling of space, no pun intended, was something that I felt was really important not to get away from fan service or the intricacies of what George had set up and dreamed of, but to just have the space to tell a story and not be instantly encumbered with the bases you have to hit. So he was asked, asked if we'll hear words like Jedi and midichlorian in this movie. The filmmaker said, I don't want to make any guarantees one way or another, but it will be before Jedi, meaning you might be experiencing something that might become Jedi. And despite the fact that people make movies other ways, I don't tend to think people brand themselves before they've actually found themselves. And then obviously, basically also starts talking about the Boba Fett stuff. But let's talk about this thing first, this Dawn of the Jedi business. Who cares? This will absolutely be another wet dream of Kathleen Kennedy's, won't it?
100%. I mean, going back that far, like literally, like if you just go back just 1,000 years in our own reality here, and how much technology in the world and all that has changed just within 1,000 years. If you go back 25,000 years, and you still got all this, high-end technology, light speed across the galaxies, all this and that. It's just, for me, it's gonna pull me out of it. Like, and the thing is, if they get away from that and they really dumb it down to where it's almost like cavemen, medieval times, then that's not even gonna feel like Star Wars.
Yeah.
So plus there's just a huge opportunity for them to jack up the lore completely for the whole entire franchise with this. So, but I don't know. Who knows if this thing will actually get made? With given Lucasfilm's
This is
track
true.
record, it's not very good on actually completing projects that are announced.
Well, that and the fact that this Indiana Jones film is probably going to bomb.
Yeah,
financially.
exactly. And that was going to be my next point right there. I mean, with what they've done with people that have failed before, and they've dropped their projects. Patty Jenkins, just first one that comes to mind, and the D&D guys from Game of Thrones, several others.
Yeah.
But yeah, if this indie film flops, I don't see him getting anything. Nobody fails up at Lucasfilm except for Kathleen Kennedy. She won't allow anybody else to fail up. She's the only one allowed to do that there. So again, I'll be surprised if this happens, but even if it does, I think it has huge potential to just be a complete disaster and a mess for especially lore for the Star Wars universe.
Yeah. Culture, you want to chip in there?
The only thing I would like to add is that I have no interest in a Dawn of the Jedi. I have no interest in an origin story.
The Dawn of the Jedi.
Yeah, I
leave
mean,
us some mystery.
Well, and that's
this is true.
Yeah, and that's where Disney gets everything wrong, is because they want to go back and change, the events, but then we have further questions like, where did this genocide come from that, you've created with the way you've crafted things? And was there an ethnic cleansing somewhere along the way that we're not familiar with? It comes up, it just creates more problems because you go back in time to create an origin. Very few opportunities to create a story for a starting point for a character those are very rarely successful, and they usually have a lot of other support to build a background around. You're trying to do this with an entire sect, for lack of a better way to describe the Jedi and the Sith. How are you going to come about creating this thing and not create additional problems down the road? You've already devalued this property to a degree where you could not possibly sell it for half of what you purchased it for. So whoever ends up with this in the end is going to be dealing with a very crippled intellectual property. So going backwards doesn't do anything other than serve Kathleen's agenda to drive this let's get High Republic idea. Right. And everything else that comes into play later. So it's really, really bad. Really, really bad.
Yeah, the High Republic is not doing well either. So
no. Well, he does move on and start talking about this bloody Boba Fett thing. So he confirmed that it didn't basically to do with Star Wars Solo Stories bad box office performance. Apparently, they didn't even consider making it, which is bollocks because it was all reworked into Mandalorian.
Yep.
So it says at this point I was doing it and I was probably scaring the shit out of everyone, but I was making much more of a borderline rated R single planet spaghetti western. They probably would never be able to embrace Baby Yoda if I made that. So it didn't really belong in the world I was kind of envisaging. I was just listening to Ennio Morricone one all day, all night, and typing away. I'm not sure it ever would have happened. I'm not sure it was anyone's plans, what I was thinking. So he's trying to make an R-rated Boba Fett movie.
And he's trying to sound all edgy and like, I would have totally made like a hardcore Boba Fett, but I was too badass. They wouldn't let me. So you got that baby Disney Yoda shit. Not my cool ass edgy Star Wars. Yo, look, I'll tell you what this movie about the first Jedi is going to be about. It's going to be about the strongest woman ever, Rey Palpatine the First. Like way back when in time, and her name will be Rey Palpatine as well. And it'll show you how she has a child named Leia Skywalker.
Just call them all Rey.
Rey. And it's all going to lead to the modern days. Yeah, like I don't think it's going to be like cavemen, but I do think it's going to be like proto Jedi and Sith kind of thing.
I mean the creative what's the word I'm looking for? The creative bones in these people that are coming up with some of this stuff. Like I was just when Tom was sitting there talking about it. Yeah, you got Rey, Poe, Finn. I mean, all these characters' names, you just come up with 3 letters and just throw them in there, and hey, this is going to be our new character name.
Probably. It's crap. Even Cal Kestis as well. Cal.
Yeah.
What the fucking same, honestly. Whatever. It's going to be crap.
Nate, I don't know if you saw the trailer for the new Star Wars game coming out.
Yeah, it looked all right.
But it one.
Yeah, it looked all right, but that was it. Because it's just it's the same format for everything we have.
Yeah. But did you notice like the ship that she flies? It's basically just like a rectangle, flying around. Like I don't know what it is, but like some of the ship designs, and I've said this before in our streams, like when you had the original trilogy, I mean, you had the Imperial Shuttle, the TIE Fighters, X-Wings, Y-Wings. I mean, all these ships looked like they were actually engineered because they were actually engineered by people who designed planes and all that sort of stuff. These just look like some kid drawing just like a rectangle and putting some pipes on it or something the designs for a lot of the vehicles
just
and
lazy
in this stuff laziness. Is very lazy. Not a fan at all.
No. We've got 2 more super chats to get to real quick. Black Saber for $2 says, love how KK likes grave robbing the EU she killed. Absolutely.
Good point.
Absolutely. Mike Litterus for $2 says, just want to say I appreciate you all. Thank you. Well, thank you, man. I do appreciate it. Appreciate everyone with the super chats. Goes a long way. These streams are always demonetized, so it goes a long, long way. You guys doing the super chat stuff, the donations. I will say as well, guys, check out the link in the description box, the Mistakes Reviews live archives. If you've enjoyed this, that's where all of this goes. They don't stay on the main channel anymore. And they get chopped up. They get turned into their own videos. Loads of stuff. Head on over, hit subscribe. Links in the description box. Magitech Mags for $5 says, Jennifer Lawrence is the literal Force. That's why the Force is female.
True. Yeah.
I love that. That's brilliant.
She is the Wills.
That is brilliant.
Yeah, that was the other part I was going to bring up, is that we actually learned that the Force itself is female and the Sith is male.
Oh, dear, oh dear. Yeah, that is probably what's going to happen in the. Yeah, that is what's going to happen, isn't it? In the new Ray movie, because they're having a girl apprentice and a man apprentice, and the girl has some like amazing abilities, so she's going to be. It's basically feminism, the movie, isn't it? It's
Yes.
men versus women. It's fucking trash. Anyway, so we got a little bit of a fun, light-hearted topic now. The Witcher season 3.
Oh Lord.
Rotten Tomatoes score has been revealed. Do a refresh.
94%.
Oh no, it's dropped.
Oh wow, down to 89.
I literally just did a refresh.
It's a pretty big drop.
That's in an hour, guys.
94 to 89. Wow, all right.
Very funny. Right, let's see what the. So wasn't the. How do you check the verified ones or something like that? Okay, so 60. Because there's the. How do you change it? Is there like a verified one?
It's not cinema, so I don't think you can do the same.
Bugger. Never mind. Well, anyway, look at this crap. So how's the audience score coming through yet? It's not even out. So I'm a bit confused with that. How are we getting an audience one?
Maybe people that have gotten early access.
Yeah. I guess. Well, wouldn't they just be?
I mean, how many reviews? How many people?
Has it been out today? Then I guess has it been released today? June 29th. Has it been released today?
Apparently so.
Oh, okay. It dropped it. I think it might have dropped at midnight last night. Actually,
fucking hell! I'm not watching this shit for a while. Jesus. Well, anyway, people don't like it, but people do like it as well. So, this is kind of what you expect, I would say. Part 1 reduces the action, but increases the development of its main characters. What, like the one that's going to leave? Finally making a genuine connection between them. Well, it took 3 fucking seasons.
Yes.
Jesus. And streamlines the plot so they become easier to follow, or at least easier than previous seasons. What a resounding positive review.
I just did confirm it did drop at 2:00 in the morning Central Time last night,
okay.
Midnight Pacific Time. So yeah, it is out.
I have no interest to watch the show.
We got this covered. As a Rotten Tomatoes approved critic.
Wow.
Fucking hell, they can organize a shit in a toilet. Unbelievable. Wow. I should try and get on there. Nah, who cares? I don't give a fuck. Wow. That's crazy.
Do you see Grace Randolph in there anywhere?
Oh, let's have a look. I love a no.
Oh man, that's your girlfriend.
What? No.
Is that your girlfriend?
I'll be banning you if you start saying stuff like that. But taste.
Okay. Sorry.
Right. Don't test me, culture.
Oh, all right.
Don't test me with that. That's fucking.
All right.
It's a surefire way. Anyway, I just thought this was funny. I mean, this bloody season was doomed from the start. It's done. Like, it's absolutely done. I'm surprised that the audience score isn't less. I'm really surprised it isn't less.
Yeah, I actually kind of am too. But again, it did just drop last night.
No one's seen it though. This is the thing. Morbius had a high score.
Yeah.
It says
but no one saw it.
It says 50 plus ratings, so I would say not many people have reviewed it yet.
No. Well, what was season 1 then? Season 1, 68. Oh, that's critics. Oh, 89 audience. Oh, what was season 2 then? 58. Oh, yeah. It's got to be about that. It's got to be, isn't it?
Yeah. And
what's our predictions then for season 3?
Well, I think it'll be lower than. I think it'll be like more around 48, 45, 48.
Do you think? Because I think people won't watch it because they've checked out.
Well, after the second season, I wouldn't blame them. It was very bad.
Yeah.
But I would say that they also have another problem in that I believe the season 3 is divided in half. So yeah. So this is going to leave a lot of people really frustrated. Because they got to milk it, right? Because they're shooting 4 and 5 back to back simultaneously.
Yeah.
So they can
'Cause they know
sneak
they're done.
in, that nobody's going to watch them. I mean, and Netflix let this happen to themselves, which was dumb.
So fucking ridiculous. Predictions. Let's do our predictions for how low can they go?
I don't think it'll go below 45.
I'm going to say, I'm going to put it right in there. I'd say maybe 48%, 48%, I think, probably.
I'm going to say 55.
Wow.
Because I reckon the only people that will be watching it are actually interested in it. Amazingly.
True story.
And it won't be fans of the game.
No.
And it's kind of a double-edged sword, too, because Henry's in this season, right?
Yes.
Yep.
So they'll use the low ratings as an excuse as well. See, that's why we should have got rid of Henry a long time ago.
Wrong.
Yeah, true. So we got some super chats here that came through. Brett Cohen for $2 Australian dues says, "Does Mike Litterus know Dixie Normus?" You'll have to take it up with him or her. Don't want to assume genders.
Yeah, I mean, Dixie Normus usually appears on Comics Division streams. So,
Horseradish Power for £5 says, "What is people's opinions on smoking causes coughing? It looks like a crazy French Power Rangers film to me. Looking to watch it on Tuesday." What? Smoking?
Never heard of it.
Coughing?
I've not heard of that at all. So my opinion is, I don't know.
Yeah, I've not heard of that.
I'm going to look at it.
I thought he was making fun of me.
Oh my God. This looks mental. It does actually look like some batshit crazy Power Rangers thing. This looks like comedy gold. A group of vigilantes called the Tobacco Forces is falling apart. To rebuild To rebuild team spirit, their leaders suggest that they meet for a week-long retreat before returning to save the world. Wow.
There are people in the chat saying they want to see it. So.
I'm looking at a bit of the trailer now, and it looks hilarious.
All right, fair enough.
Like, it looks like dumb shit fun. Doesn't look good, but it knows what it is.
It's a French film?
Apparently.
Was there lost in something in the translation of the title? Like maybe smoking is hazardous to your health or something is supposed to be the title? Like kind of a more play on something like that?
They've got like a robot that pisses on them. Oh my God. This looks so... It looks funny. It looks funny, Horseradish. Cheers for letting us know. Bren Nelson, sorry, for $5 says, "I lean left. I'm fine with diverse characters if they deserve and earn it. There are great examples of female leads such as Aliens, Terminators, etc." Yeah, absolutely. And 100%.
Yeah.
You are completely right, you know, like, and also I was thinking this today, in fact, and I sent my random thought to someone, and I was like, in 2023, when men can be women and women can be men, why do we constantly swap men out for women to give women representation? That is a woke paradox.
Because men can't be men.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
But I thought that confused me a little bit then. I mean, I know why, obviously, but it is a woke paradox.
And nowadays, I can't even tell you what a woman is, more or less what a man is.
No, that's the average, though, is to take a woman, give her all the traits of a man.
Yeah.
And then that's their idea of making a strong female character.
But literally
demeaning all men in the process, yeah.
Yeah, but literally, if you just look at like Princess Leia, you know, here's the princess, you know, the damsel in distress, you know, but when they rescue her, you know, she's sort of taking charge. You know, she's grabbing the gun, she's shooting. Yeah, you know, and that's a strong female character. You know, and it's earned. It doesn't feel like it's forced on you, like, oh, woman power, you know, like, you know, all the guys would be in the jail cell and she'd be coming in and rescuing them, or something.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, guys, ladies and gents, literally today, after this stream, about 9 p.m. UK time, I don't know what time that is elsewhere, but in basically half an hour, I will be on the Critical Drinkers stream. So head on over there to continue watching me. It'd be good to have some of you guys over there supporting me in the chit chat. I don't know how long I'm going to stay there for, but yeah, I've been invited on over there. You guys always said you wanted to see it happen. I've been on there before. He has his regulars and we sort of chit chatted, and I'll be on there this evening. So it'd be good to see some of you guys in the chat. But that about wraps it up. I'm not going to lie. That about wraps it up. I know, a bit of a short and sweet one. There's not an awful lot of major news to cover. We wanted to chit chat about Indiana Jones as the mainstay. We'll be covering it on Tuesday in detail because, well, at least Culture would have seen it. Tom, are you planning to see it or not?
I might. No guarantees, but I might.
Okay. All right.
I'll have my review out either sometime late tonight or sometime tomorrow morning. So then I when we get here on Tuesday, I can't wait to speak about the box office because I think it's going to be a hot subject.
It's going to be very, very fun to chit chat about. I think genuinely very, very fun to chit chat about. So that'll be Tuesday's podcast. Please do hit subscribe on the second channel, which you can find linked in the description box. Mistakes Reviews Live Archives. Everyone's channel here. Everyone's done great contributions to the conversation today. I'm sure you really enjoyed it. So please do check out their channels. It's linked down below. If you've enjoyed their input, check out their own channels. It's more of them. So check them out. And also encourages people to keep coming back to the podcast and being a panel member as well. So helping them out helps me out. Cheers. And then it helps you out. Anyway, that about wraps it up. What we got going on? Nick.
Chill stream tonight with Nikki, who's in the chat. Me, myself, Coach, and Matt Rissman. We'll be doing chill stream tonight. And then of course our Saturday night show this Saturday at 7 Central. Also, just FYI, it is 4th of July next Tuesday. So I know here in the States, a lot of people will be out and about grilling, going and watching fireworks, all that sort of stuff. But I'm working, so I'll be here. So,
well, we'll still be here if you want your little daily dose of pop culture. We'll still be here, guys. Tom, what you got going on, buddy?
There might be mead later, unless I get a bug up my butt and decide to go see Indy or something like that. I don't know. I wasn't 100% sure that there was going to be mead tonight because of supposed to have surgery, but insurance put the kibosh on that pretty quick.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, at the last minute, I should say. But yeah, so I don't know exactly 100% what's going on yet tonight, but I might be around.
There you go.
All right, cool. And Culture, what you doing, dude?
Let's see. Tonight is the Comics Division stream that I still would love for you to show up on late in the middle of your night or very early in your morning at some point. But it's going to be a lot of fun talking about, these same subjects. So at that point, all of the people that will be on the panel will have seen the film. So I imagine my first blush reaction will be there, although not my complete one. And then as I said, I think, my 6-minute daily happens every weekday, and that's the show that catches a lot of people up on everything that happened in the evening and what's happening now. And then finally, I released somewhere around 10 videos a week. So try to catch some of those. If not all of those, would be great. Thank you for your support, guys. We've grown quite well. We are over 7,200 now on my channel. So
there you go. So let's get it to 1,000. Why not?
I'm going to start a 5-minute
7,200 at 7,500, isn't it?
7,200. I think
7,200.
Yeah. 7,200.
Get it to 10,000.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
that's my tired brain today.
That's all right.
So yeah, thank you so much, ladies and gents. Again, I'll be over on the Critical Drinkers stream in about 25 minutes. So head on over there, support me over there. Be good to have you guys. It'd be good to see you guys in the chat anyway. Yeah, but from me and everyone else, thank you so much. We'll catch you Tuesday for our breakdown of Indiana Jones box office and anything else we're going to talk about, or you guys want us to talk about, because that's where the super chats come in. So thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye now.
See you guys.
Peace.